Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. Been a rocky start to the day. I've had internet troubles. There's been storms in Melbourne, but the internet's come back, so that means we can do another Xamarin UI challenge. So hope everyone in the chat is doing well. It's Friday here in Melbourne. Internets are looking good. Let's have a bit of a look at what we're going to do today. And please feel free to say hi in the chat window. So don't be shy. Good morning, Lachlan. All right. Hello. Alariza? Sorry, I'm terrible with names. Hey, look, what we're going to have a look at is this UI challenge. So this was sent to me by somebody. I'm not going to dox anyone, but this is an interesting challenge. Sunny in Nelson Bay. Fantastic. MJ freelancing. Beautiful. All right, let's see what we have. So this is the UI challenge. Let's let this play. So it's got some really, really cool animations going on in here. No idea how we're going to pull it off yet, but I got a few ideas. But let's have a look at where we can find this UI design, because it's not something that I've created. It's something that's available on Dribbble. So I'll post that link to the design in here. Also, I've got a GitHub repo, which is where I'm going to put all of this stuff, which is going to be in this GitHub repo here. So at the end of the stream, I'll make sure that I check in the code if anyone wants to check it out or, contribute. Okay. So first things first, we should probably go and have a look at this design in a little bit of detail and break it down and see how we're going to approach it. There's a lot going on, actually. When somebody tweeted me and said, hey, how about you do this design? I was like, yeah, sure, it looks easy. But the more I look at it, the more difficult it becomes, not surprisingly. So let me open up a video of it and let's have a look at what we have. So back here on, let's ignore this bit. That's just some fancy UI work. Okay. So what have we got here? We've got ourselves, probably a pretty simple layout. Hamburger menu, a shopping cart, bit of text, a search bar, a settings icon, I guess. And then we've got like a staggered layout here that goes down. So that's going to be a little bit interesting. We did something similar in one of the UI challenges where we did the art auction. So I'll probably reuse some of that. But really the interesting part of this comes with the interactions. So let's have a look. So basically, user can tap on one of these plus symbols to add it into the shopping cart. And that adds it up there. The tricky bit, I think, in this first screen, which is probably what we'll try and tackle today, is as the user interacts with this list down the bottom, or the bunch of products down the bottom, as it slides up, you see there's various elements that actually move around the page. So the list view slides up, or it's probably not a list view, it's let's call it the product list. Product list sort of slides up, and then other elements come in as well. Okay, so quite a bit going on there. Now, if you've tuned in before, you probably know that I love grid layouts. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do it with a grid layout because we're going to have such fine control over where things are placed. So I'm going to guess that we're probably going to go for something like an absolute layout for this, so as we can actually position things absolutely. The second part of this, which we probably won't get to today, is what happens when a user selects one. So it slides up, comes down here, and then when they add to the cart, it pops that up. So that's actually a little bit like what we did with the Marvel cards. So maybe we can reuse something from there as well. Okay, so Oh, hi, Drew. Welcome. It's going well, thank you, Drew. Yeah, we're just sort of talking about the UI design that we're going to try and implement in Xamarin.Forms. So hopefully everything's going well for you as well, Drew. Alrighty. So let's start to break this down. We'll tackle this first screen first. You're excited, Drew? That's awesome. It's good to be excited. So you're enjoying discrete maths. Well, that's a plus. I can't ever claim to have enjoyed discrete maths, but and you're going to learn about linked lists at the end of semester. Yeah, linked lists, they're super useful. Data structures and machine organization next semester, Drew. That's awesome. So yeah, data structures is I think a really important topic. Yeah, I'm pleased that pleased you're enjoying it. Okay. So let's sort of break this down. First of all, let's tackle this first screen first. We'll let this second one go for a while, but maybe we can do this with a shared transition, sort of as that comes up here. Maybe it'll all be on the same page. Not exactly sure yet. We'll try out a few different options. Okay, let's start off by. Fortunately, the designer has some images here of the design. So I'm going to bring some of those into Adobe XD, sorry, and we'll see if we can get some images and things like that out of it. So that's normally the first part when you're trying to replicate a design. Actually, come in here and sort of break it apart. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create myself a rectangle here. If you've got any questions, as I said, feel free to ask away. So I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm going to copy this image and paste it into my rectangle here. We'll make this occupy the full screen. It looks like it's designed for an iPhone. So let's sort of try and get this spaced nicely. Probably about that big. Let's put it in the middle just so we have some references for that screen. Let's be a little bit bigger. That'll do. That gives us a reference point there. Good morning, Capital Twitch. Sunny Brisbane. I wish it was sunny here in Melbourne. There's been storms going on. Okay, that's our first page. Let's add another page in here. Just for our second screen. So the first part we're going to do is really just around. Actually, you know what I'll do? Instead of doing that, just copy this one, because then I'll be able to move this around and it should be about the right size. Beautiful. All right, so there's our two base screens. Hey, Bill Ashton. Welcome. And hello. Is there storms where you are, Bill? Okay, so we now have our design on our screen here. Let's have a look at the various elements. So we've got a hamburger menu that sort of looks pretty custom over here. So we'll create some icons for that. The shopping cart as well, that looks like a button. We'll create an icon for that one. Just some text here, so we'll have to find a font for that. And then again, we have another icon here, another icon here. So we'll design those quickly. An entry field. So the entry field doesn't have any borders on it, so we might have to write an effect for that one. Hot and clear, where you are, Bill. Beautiful. And Drew says data structure is important because you build upon them in upper level courses. Yeah, and interview questions, absolutely. I remember once in an interview I was asked to define or to implement a like a binary tree. So yeah, sometimes you get those in interview questions. Alrighty, and then we've got some icons over here as well. We'll ignore that one for the moment. So let's start off. I'm going to create myself an artboard over here, and we'll start stealing a few colors and resources from our design. So what I normally like to do is just have another artboard here, and then I can sort of come through, have a look at the colors around the place. So the first color is probably this one here, this sort of kind of almost a bluey gray. There, let's just grab a few more colors. What else have we got? We've got this here. This is probably not black, right? So pretty rare that things are actually black in designs. So you can see it's not quite black. So that's going to be our text color. What's next? Grab a few of these colors here as well. Lavender, bit of green. The other thing we're going to have to do with this design as well, we're going to have to try and work out how we're going to get these images here. Because one of the challenges with this design is going to be that we don't just need the sort of corner element here, because as it expands out, you see it's a full product image. So, you know, I think what we need to do is we need to actually have a full image, and then back here, we'll have to sort of crop it down to the corner. So we'll go and we'll see if we can find some of those a little bit later on. Where's Adobe XD? There we go. All right, so that's some of our colors. Let's create some images here. So because I don't have the original design resources, I'm just going to replicate these inside of Adobe XD. So get a color here, get a line, that big. Let's have a look. We make it too wide. We'll give it some rounded corners on the end because it looks a little bit rounded. Hey, PT Dave. Fantastic. Subscribed with 4 months in a row. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dave. Wood. And you got a founder's badge as well. That's amazing. Hey, I don't think our jingle played. Use that too. So Drew, yeah. It does seem like I'm always having troubles with the jingle. I agree, but I can play it right here.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
That one's just for you, Dave. Sound is hard. Sound is really hard. Let's make this 2.5. No, let's just leave it at 2. All right. So we'll grab that one there. We'll put it about there-ish. We'll just duplicate that, move it down to here, and then just adjust the length of it. Oops. Let me lock that layer. And that gives us a pretty good hamburger menu. So let's group those together. We'll rename that as hamburger icon. Beautiful. What else have we got here? We've got a shopping cart icon. How hard can it be? Looks like, to me, Looks like a square. Probably keep, oh, it's got a bit of a thinner border. And it looks like we have a little bit of rounding there, and perhaps let's make those 1, 1, 2, 2. There we are. PT Dave, am I going to make this app responsive to dark mode? Well, hey, there's been so much talk about dark mode recently, Dave. I probably should, right? Probably should. So yeah, why don't we do that? In fact, let's just come over here and let's talk about our to-dos here. So first of all, create image resources. Okay, so that's where we'll start off. Identify the font. So PT Dave, I started adding a method for capturing the OS theme. Dave, have you had a look at all of the blog posts and stuff by James Montemagno? He's been doing a lot of stuff with theming. So he actually went and used some code, or you had a look at some code that I had for theming as well, and then he enhanced all of that to actually deal with the different OSs. So I want to create view models. Layout. Hey Dev Debug, thank you for the follow.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
All right, let's see how we go creating this. So I'm going to try and create this handle here. I always find this a little bit difficult. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's try this. Let's just create a line from here to here. And then let's do this. Let's see if this works for us. Something like that. And if we give that a rounded top here, and then we adjust these, we might get this. So this is the uncool part of doing UI design, if you're a developer anyway. So Dave, I found a fellow that had an iEnvironment option that seemed easy enough, just working some issues passing an activity. Okay. There we are. I reckon that's probably about right. Like that blue. We'll give it some rounded ends. Let's move this bad boy over here and see what we have. Yeah, there's a shopping cart icon. Oops, I think we need to move that handle across. We're not on a pixel grid here exactly. Let's go with that one. We can fine it up a little bit later on. Doesn't really matter. We can take a few liberties with it. Let's go with that for the moment. Let's group that up. Let's rename that basket icon. To skier. So yeah, skier is basically nothing you can't do in skier, Dave, which is great. And in one of, I might make that all a little bit thicker. There we go. One of the previous sessions that we did, I actually did some skier and then recolored SVGs that were rendered by skier as well. So that might be a good option. Okay, so we get our basket. Let's tackle this bad boy down here. So let's do this. Let's say, put that there. We'll give it some rounded corners. With the same stroke width as what we had before. Select our color here. Create ourselves a little circle. That big, maybe. Okay, and then let's just copy that, move it down to here, just rotate it around. There we are. That'll do, donkey. That'll do, donkey. And we'll group that on up and we'll call that our settings, I think. Cool. Okay. And then we've got our search over here as well. I've asked this before, but let me know when we're doing these UI challenges, if you'd prefer I do this stuff ahead of time, do let me know. I think some people enjoy seeing how you can create this stuff in Adobe XD. Other people aren't so interested. So let me know. And hi, Nasrialg 16. One bigger. Put it there. And color for that one. I think it's worth finishing, but not necessarily doing them all unless there's something special. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so let's group these together. Yeah, Adobe XD is really, really good. I used to spend all my time in Sketch, but now I find Adobe XD is coming along really nicely. Okay, let's make this our search icon. Beautiful. Okay, so we've got our various icons here as well. So let's put them over here. Wonderful. I think that for this page anyway, that's probably all the image resources that we need. So we should perhaps export these and then we'll start doing some UI design. If I grab those and I'll say MJ freelancing, don't mind watching the full process. I've been a back-end developer for 25 plus years. So this is all new to you. Yeah. I've always enjoyed the front end. It's funny, I've got friends who hate doing front-end development because it's really fiddly and time consuming, and they prefer back-end development. I like visual things, so I tend to like doing UIs. Just depends on wherever you feel comfortable, I suppose. Dave, you love doing front end as long as it's not HTML. You know what? I've been looking at doing some overlays and things for the stream. And of course that requires a bit of HTML, a bit of JavaScript. Man, do I suck at that. I really, really suck at that. I need to spend more time doing it. Let's go and export these. This is the thing I love about Adobe XD. Is that we can come in here and we can say, okay, well, here's my project. Say, okay, let's export these for Android under the resources folder. And I can just say, give it to me, export all those resources, and then I can bring them in. And I should do iOS while I'm here as well. And when we do the iOS one, it's going to give us the different sizes for iOS as well. Cool. Okay, so now I've got some resources to work with. Let me bring this out of the way. Let's come back to Visual Studio here. And let's see if we can bring those resources in. So all I did here before, oh, did I put the wrong folder? Why am I not seeing these resources? No, they're there. They're definitely there. Oh, look at that. White bit in the middle. Doesn't matter. There we go. So yeah, Adobe XD, you can just export these, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's bring those in, include those in the project. For Android, come on Android, you can do it. Let me just check it there. Yep, they're there. I hate this button. This button here to show all files. It's always a pain for me. Maybe I should just edit my my project files. I don't know. Anyway, let's grab those. Let's include those in the project. Pow. MJ Freelancing, I hate front end. Oh, PT Dave. Oh, sorry, before that. PT Dave says, I wonder if you could get away with Blazor for the overlay. Yeah, I think I could, but I'm still going to need to know about HTML to actually lay it out nicely, I think. But yeah, it'd be a good way of learning Blazor. In fact, Lachlan did a good proof of concept for Blazor overlays. So I need to work with him on that. Yeah, and some discussion there about getting UI design. You know, that's one of the reasons I like doing these UI challenges, is because it means you get to have a look at designs and sort of break them apart and see how they work. And there's so much subtlety goes into it, like the way this, you know, as it animates up, for example, you know, that's this search box, for example, will change in size up there like that. This fades in, text fades out, lots of stuff going on there. And that's why I think we're going to need to use an absolute layout. And to tell you the truth, I'm not a huge, oh, Lachlan, your ears are burning. Yeah, we were just discussing about overlays and how I can't do HTML and JavaScript. And PT Dave said, maybe we can use Blazor. And I was saying, yeah, Lachlan, you did some proof of concepts and it seemed to work really well. So I was saying, I need to work with you, Lachlan, to get that sorted. So that's why your ears were burning. Alrighty. So we have ourselves an application. I file newed this up. just while we were waiting. Let's just run it, and then maybe we can start to use hot reload to actually go and design it. So I think yeah, MJ freelancing. Appreciate the challenges it's taken, which is why I'm watching. It's good. Starting from a blank slate is a bigger challenge. Yeah, I'm sort of an average designer, so I'm not great at it. So Travidal, you're late, but you're here, Travidal. Howdy. And there, I have an issue with an image with the URL. Sometimes when I use URL to load an image, they don't show. Is that on iOS? Is it because you're trying to get it from a HTTP source? I wonder if that's the issue, because you know in iOS everything has to be HTTPS, yada yada yada. Okay, we got Xamarin.Forms up and running here. Let me put this maybe up here. Actually, I'm not going to put it there. Ah, 100 biddies. Thank you, MJ Freelancing. All right, let's go to this main page here. So this is using the awesome hot reload. Let me slap up that font a little bit. Let me just check that it's working. Yep, that's updating. I might make this a bit bigger. I'm a bit constrained for space here, but let's put that there. Oh, hang on. You know what I try and do, because I'm going to put all of these VODs onto my blog, and I do want to have special thanks to people on each of those. So people who are supporting it, which I really appreciate. MJ Freelancing. 100 biddies. Beautiful. And we had a follow before, didn't we? We had Dev Debug did a follow. And PT Dave. 4 months. Beautiful. Alrighty, cool. I think that's all the excitement so far. All right, let's have a look at this design here. So we've got this working. We've got our stack layout, our hot reloads working, which is cool. Right, so I think we're gonna end up with an absolute layout. Unless anyone can think of a way to do this with the grid. So like we could certainly lay this out with a grid. That wouldn't be very hard at all. You'd probably just have something like, you know, like a grid like this, and you'd have like a row there, and you'd have a row there, and you might have a row with a column there, and then you'd have that. So that's cool, but the problem is that things are going to want to move outside. Like this icon moves up to here. This moves up to there. So it's going to be a little bit challenging. So let's try absolute layout, because I do kind of suck at absolute layouts, which means it'll be good practice for me. And that's what it's all about. It's all about practice. Okay, so we've got an absolute layout here. Beautiful. And let's just start off. Let's just put, I'll use an image button. I don't use image buttons nearly enough. So let's get our hamburger icon. Let's see where that goes. What's it going to do? There it is, right at the very top. So with an absolute layout, we need to start doing things like absolute layout dot layout bounds. I'm just going to position this exactly, I think. So I'll say 20 from the top, 20 from the right. We'll make it like 48 by 48. All right, there we go. It needs a little bit of padding in there. And let's see how that looks. Looks a little bit small there, but it's probably okay. Maybe not. Let's make it. Now, I'm just putting a button so as we can interact with it. So I'll probably put its background color to white. In fact, put the page's background color to white because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Okay, cool. So we've got our icon there. That looks like it's a different width. All right, we might address that one a little bit later on. All right, so there we are. We've positioned that bad boy. Let's go and position our next element, which is going to be our shopping cart over here. Get out of the way. So for the moment, let me do this. Let me just say, I think this was our basket icon. There it is. I'm just going to throw it over here because, oops, not there. Now this is obviously going to depend on the size, right, of the actual screen that we're doing. So we're going to have to dynamically adjust these things. I could do it with an absolute. So there's the layout flags, and we could set that to be, you know, a percentage, but I'm not sure we want to do that. I think we want a little bit more precise sizing than that. Okay, so let's go with that. Let's give this a background color of, and we'll add a resource dictionary in here. And we'll throw a color in here. Oops, hang on a second. Got somebody visiting. Just some people here. Anyway, cool. All right. Give this a key. We'll call this Dragon. Good to see you.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil Potts.
Subscribe for 5 months. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Dragon. Let's put you on the honor roll here. Why be a dragon? Boss. All right. So hopefully things are going well, Dragon, for you. Let's go get a color here. So we have our color right here. I normally work with a very widescreen monitor, so it's always a little bit challenging when I'm streaming. Okay, so we're going to have a color there, and we're going to set the background color to spell background. Problem there. Here we are. Done. All right, so we're going to add 2 buttons there. So Dragon, things are going well. That's great. Been fighting designing a new UI for work over the past week. Oh yeah. The UI battle is real. All right, what's next? We've got a couple of elements there. Next we have our search bar. We've got some text here as well. So we should actually go and find a font for this before we get too carried away. So let's go to Google Fonts. I'm gonna have a quick look at this. I'm gonna put over here other side. I really like this Google Fonts page actually, because you can basically put in some text here and then sort of compare what it's going to look like. So I'm looking for this font here. Choose your new green friend. So it is a sans serif font, so it doesn't have any serifs in it. I reckon it's pretty similar. Let's have a look. Pretty similar to Montserrat, actually. Oops. There's one thing I wish in Dribble they would they could tell you all of the fonts and stuff that they use. I'm going to go with Montserrat at the moment. That looks about right. So I reckon it's probably a light font. So this one here. And the other. Let's have a look at regular. My green friend. You're my green friend. That looks probably about right. Maybe regular. Doesn't matter. We can change those later on. All right, let's add those fonts in. So I'm going to use, download that font. So Dragon says, I learned today that there's a bug with Flex Layout inside a grid on a row with auto height doesn't work correctly, automatically sizes to full screen. Interesting. Is that because the content you have inside of the Flex Layout is as big as the full screen? And so the Flex Layout sizing and therefore sizing the row, I don't know. We're going to deal with a Flex Layout soon, actually. So we'll find out. Okay, I'm going to import these fonts. I'm going to use Mfractor for Windows. Booyah, okay. Let's import that font. And we want a slightly darker version of it as well. Not documents, downloads. I think we'll go with maybe medium. Nah. Yeah, let's go with medium. Okay, so it wasn't the case, Dragon. Maybe you could, put together a quick repo. All right, so all things going well, what that's done is it's added in these fonts in here. It's also brought the fonts into my assets inside of Android and also into my resources down here on my iOS. So now what I could do is, in fact, I might just do the style on this page for the moment. So we'll run this up again. Oh, that's spinning up. I think we're just going to have a stack layout with 2 labels inside of here. Seems about right. Also, this is too small. Let's say stack layout. Let's add a label. Text is choose your new label. Green friend. Choose your new green friend. Okay. Let's add some layout bounds to it and some styles. Okay, Dragon, this is the issue you're experiencing. Quick look at that. Okay. Is it still Hacktober? Time for a pull request. Hey, thanks for the thank you for the follow.
Today we're gonna code lots.
Emopa 3922. Welcome, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're having a good day. So let's go put this at 20. Let's put it at 100. And this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. I've got a Christiania bike. Does anyone know what a Christiania bike is? Christiania bikes like this. And I'm selling it. So there's some people here looking at buying it. So I use it to cart my twins around. Hey Dragon, have I got a link to the things that that I'm building? Let's have a look. Yeah, Christiania bikes are awesome. That's the there we are, Dragon. That's the link to the design. So there we are. Cool. Let's add some styles in. Okay, so we're gonna. Dragon says I'm getting all professional with chat commands and everything. Well, not really. Not really. I should. So let's say style X colon. What are we doing? Targeting a label. Our key. Let's call this header font light. Put a few setters in here. So we'll say font family. And we'll say property of, and we'll use our static resource. Oh, sorry, that's a value. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Static resource. Nope, not going to get it. Okay, cool. Montserrat light, maybe. And we'll set our font size to 30. Let's try that as a starting point. There we are. So we've got our choose our new. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Let's give this a color as well. And we'll go ahead. Let's try and do this properly. I'll go and grab this text color from here. And we'll throw it into there. Beautiful. And then we'll say the text color is the value static resource text color. All right, cool. So that's given us that there. It might be a little large. Yeah, let's go with that for the moment. And let's create ourselves another style for header font. Medium. And we'll go ahead and we'll put that in there. Pretty much wants to be the same, I think. So let's come back down to here. Let's set our style. A font medium. Choose our new green friend. Okay, looks about right. Not too bad. Now let's do this search bar, and then let's get into all the awesomeness of the flex layout. Okay. Now again, I think, right, so when we have a look at the design for this, if we have a look at what happens, there's an icon here, there's a button there. Oh, sorry, there's an entry field there. And there's the background. So the background and the icon move. So I want to have those as separate elements because they're resizing. So I'm talking about this bit here. Let's do a few different elements inside of there. So let's again create an image button. Set its source to be equal to search icon. Okay. Let's go and position this with our absolute layouts. It's going to go in a little bit, but let's say 200 by 200 and we'll make it the same size. Wowzers. It's a bit big, isn't it? Let's adding in there, make it a little, no, that's too small. Just get these about right, and then we'll go and adjust them. Okay, so we've got an image button. I'll add a box view in for the background of it. Layout bounds here. We'll say that goes from 20 to 200, and we'll make that like 300 wide and 48 high. Let's see what that does with the background color of this background color that we defined earlier on. Okay, because of the Z order, it's going to appear at the back, so we want to put the button below that. All right, we probably want to set the background color of our image button to be transparent. Go with that. Beautiful. You know what? Whilst I do this, I'm just going to change this color. I'm going to make it yellow. Cool. So now I can see it. I think we need some corners on this. Oh, sorry, not on the image button. On our box view. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's add an entry field in. So we'll say layout bounds here. This is all super unattractive work, but anyway, 200. We'll make it 200 wide and 48 high. Let's see if that ends up not quite where we want it. And I know it seems like I'm hard coding a lot of values here, and that's true, I am. But we'll change that a little bit later on. Because all of this stuff is going to have to be driven with animations, right? Because all of this is going to change up into various positions around the place. So we'll deal with that a little later on. Okay, now let's add in our last image button here. Our last image button is going to be a settings icon. Oops. And we want this to be positioned, you know, probably similar to this one up here. So let's see where that is. 340. Beautiful. All right, and I think maybe let's have a look at the design here. Yeah, these have rounded corners on them. So I should probably create a style for image buttons then, shouldn't I? I'll say, let's create a style. Let's call this button style, targeting an image button. Set a setter. A background color. A background color. Let's just copy a few of these values from down here, hey? It's out of the way for a second. God. Okay, something like that. And so we'll say button style. Yep. Thank you, freelancing. Spot on. Definitely. Okay, so let's apply this button style to these. Button style. Oops. Cool. Means I can get rid of our background color. It'll stay consistent. So here's our image button. Okay, there's our button style, and for this one here as well. And we can get rid of the background color because that's in our style. And all of that was just so that I could actually come in here and set the corner radius just once. There we go. Looks about right. Beautiful. Maybe a little bit more. And let's change our color back again. Voila. Voila. Okay, choose our new green friend. Placeholder text in there. We'll write an effect, or we'll steal an effect from somewhere to get rid of this underline as well a little bit later on. So here's my entry field. Placeholder is search. Beautiful. It's got a capital S. And this, my friends, is why UI takes so long. Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty much what we're after there. It's looking pretty good. Let's do the flex layout of Destiny. So we're going to put a flex layout that's going to go down the page. Now, in a previous episode of UI challenges, we did a similar thing for the art auction. I wonder if there's if I have it installed on here. I don't think I do. But let's have a look at that and see what implementation we use, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel unnecessarily. Oh, broken link. Okay, so pretty similar to what we had going on in here. So Lachlan actually implemented this. So this was on our views, artist details. And from memory, it was a stack layout, a flex layout inside of a stack layout. Oh no, we don't need the stack layout. It was a flex layout, yeah. Bindable flex layout with columns and a scroll view around it. And it seemed to work pretty well, because unfortunately there isn't a staggered layout for the collection view. I did see that there was a pull, not a pull request, an enhancement request for that. But anyway, let's all right. Actually, you know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to create some data first, aren't we? So whilst we're stopped, let's create ourselves a view models folder. Let's create ourselves a main view model. I don't like opinions vary on this one. I don't like a lot of heavy MVVM stuff. My go-to, just because it just provides just what I need, is actually the one from James Montemagno. Let's add MVVM helpers in. Oops. Cool. And we'll say this is a base view model. Yep. Okay. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have our actual products themselves. So the products in this are defined, I think, by their color, their image, price. In fact, why don't we just put in color, image, name, and price for the moment, and then we'll extend it when we go into the second page. So I'm going to create a model. Add a new folder. And we'll just call this like a generic product. All right. So our product is, like I said, it's got a number of properties that we're going to add in later on. But for the moment, let's just say we've got a string, which is the name. We're going to have a string, which is the image URL. Oops. And we'll add in price. We also need like a color as well. It's hero color, if you like. It's kind of what I normally refer to them as. Hero color. All right, cool. All right, that's our model. We'll extend that later on. In fact, I might just. Okay, and we'll create ourselves a view model. In our view model, we'll just go ahead and, well, I don't know, what should we do? What I kind of like doing is I like having view models for each of the items inside. But our main view model is going to have a list, an iList. Hello, iList. Yes, an iList of product view models. A class in a new file. I wonder where that's going to put it. I'll just create it manually, I think. A product view model. The product view model isn't going to do anything too exciting. Actually, does it matter? Should I add a product view model? What do you think? Or should I just, you know what I might do? Maybe I'll use Foddy. If Dragon's here, Dragon would tell me to use Foddy. I know that. So you know what? You know what I might do? What I might do is I might just grab these. I'll get rid of this product. Throw these in here. Make this my notify property changed. Okay, so that it's going to notify when it happens. And so I don't have to write all of that horrible boilerplate code. Let's include Foddy. So Foddy will write all of that boilerplate code for me. So Foddy property changed. Token. Okay. Okay, and for Foddy, in a second, for Foddy, pretty sure we have to add in a file as well. So I'm just going to have a look at the docs for Foddy. Yeah, we need to add a foddy.weavers.xml. Hey, R2AU. So, Dragon, with MVVM helpers, you're just making an observable object. An observable object has iNotify property change. That's true, but I still have to raise it, right? Still have to raise the property changed event when it changes. No? You sure? Do you reckon if I say this is an observable object, and which means I can get rid of this guy here. Oh, are you saying still you have to raise it in the observable object? Yeah, see, I'd have to do this, right? I'd have to like classes in here automatically have it. Yeah, okay. So I think what you're saying then is if I have an observable object, I'll still stick Foddy in here to write those for me. Yeah, cool. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. So let's add an XML file then. Called Foddy Weavers.xml. This basically just turns it on and says, hey, write all of that property change rubbish for me. Probably not that it's going to matter in this particular case because we're not going to have a lot of stuff going on. Does Foddy have to go in each of the projects? Yeah, I don't think it does because it's a code weaver. So it's going to basically, when it builds this bad boy, it's going to put all the changes in there. In fact, let's have a look at the docs for it. It's going to turn this thing, right? And iNotify property change, and the property change event comes from my observable object, but it's going to do that. And that only has to exist in the model. So I reckon that will be okay. We'll find out. Okay, so what we want then in our main view model is we want a list of product view models. Call this our products. We have this property here. In our constructor for the moment, let's just do this so we have some data. We'll say our products equals a new an observable range collection of product view model. And then we'll just ram in some data. What do you think? So I'll create a new product view model. So we're going to have a hero color equals some value. We're going to have the name equals some value. We're going to have the price equals some value. And we're going to have Oh, I know what we also need to do. What was their other property? Image URL. Image URL equals some value. You know what else we need to do as well? Actually, no, let's just go with that for the moment. Let's go with that for the moment. What I'm thinking about is one of the unique things about this design and why we're going to use the flex layout for it is because, where's my design? These actually have different sizes. So we were going to want these to have different sizes in here. So in an MVVM world, right, the size of these should not be in our view model. Sorry. Yeah, it should not be in a view model. It should be the view that sizes them based on something about them, like whether it's featured or not. So probably we could do that with, we had a property in here. Is it a featured item? Let's say false by default. We could then use something like a value converter to set its size based on that. Okay, so what I need to do now is, again, some boring work. So the boring work here is basically getting these different values and putting those in. Okay, so let's just throw a few in to start with. Put that up here. There. Cool. So let's start off with this. We're going to have, and I'm just copying this from my my design that I've got on the other screen. So I'm just going to grab a few colors and things like that. So nobody panic. Image URL. Let's leave that for the moment because images are going to be special. That has a price of 12. Is it featured? Okay, so is it featured is basically saying, is it a large tile or a small tile? Effectively. So sky blue, gonna be $12. It's gonna be featured. Cool. I'll just throw a few of these in so we can get our flex layout going. The next one is, the design is yellow sun. Let me grab its hero color, which is kind of like an orange color. It's $17. Is featured. Yes, it is. Oh dear. Okay. Next one. Let's say lavender. Is $19 and it's not featured. And then we've got green life. You could also use a data template selector. Yeah, that would be possible also. Like in this case, I don't know. Yeah, it's sort of that would definitely work. In our case, I think the only thing we're changing is just the size. Maybe we'll try a few different options here. See what works best. So lavender. Let's add one more in, which is what's it called? It's called Green Life. $14 and featured. Okay, so theoretically, that's going to give us a view model with a few objects in it. Hi, Rob Gibbons, or a visual state manager. Maybe. Maybe. We've got a few options probably. Let's just find out what actually works. So let's go back and have a look at that code that we had for this here. And let's kind of just steal some of this code. Yoish. Okay, so we're not using grids, so we're going to get rid of that. Get rid of that. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll comment all of this out. Then we'll add it as we're running. Is that right? I think that's right. Spin this bad boy up. While that's spinning up, I might take a really quick bio break. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes. So I'll just put this this break screen on. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in 2 minutes. And then we'll get this working. That was quick. All right. So we're running search. I can't spell search apparently. Let's have a look at how he spells search. Yep. That's better. Cool. We need to have a view model. So I guess we could just add it straight into our page. Why not? Put this up here. Let's add a namespace in for like view model. Say, whoops. view models there, and then set our binding context to be our view models, main view model. Okay, cool. Scroll view. This gives a background color so I can see it. Uh-oh. Did I break Visual Studio? No, I didn't. Okay, doesn't look like it's very big at the moment. So let's say, give an absolute layout. Layout bounds. 20. 300. Width. Height. All right. We could probably use some layout flags in this, I'm guessing. So if I said absolute layout flags, size proportional, I think we could then say 0.9 wide, 1 high. Yeah, cool. So, Dragon, you said you've been getting hangs like that since it updated to the latest yesterday. I'm actually not on the latest. But yeah, it happens occasionally. I don't know if it's a hot reload thing. I've got 16.3.6 available. Yeah, anyway. Okay, cool. So that we know where it is now. Yeah, so Dragon asked a question there. Since you're using hard-coded layout bounds, would this design only work on devices with the size of your simulator? Yes. So for like these ones here, right? They're only going to work like this layout bounds here where I've got all of the values set, right? Then it's exactly positioning it. You know, it's saying it's here. It's exactly in this section here. So that will only work there. We're going to write some code to make it dynamic based on the size of it. This one here is a little bit different because I say this is size proportional, which means it's going to say the position is 2300, but the width is 0.9 of the width. So that's going to resize theoretically, right? So if I turn this landscape, this yellow box should still be 0.9 of the width, I reckon. Yeah, see? So that's basically resize there. None of these have resized because I've provided all 4 values of it. But this one is going to resize to 0.9. So that's the layout flags that control that. Yeah, I don't use the absolute layout a lot. I only use the absolute layout when I need to have really fine control of it. But you can also do this, right? You can say, if this was layout flags of all, right? Then I could say this goes from, say 0 to 0.9 by 0.1, right? And if I save that, right, that's basically saying I'm starting at 0, 0, right? So now everything, because I've got these layout flags, now it's proportional, right? So if I said this was 0.9, it would be 0.9 the height. If I said this was like 0.1 to point, that's the width. Why is it 0.1 so small? Anyway, hopefully you get the idea. Yeah, so essentially it's the start coordinates and then the layout width and height. Yeah, if I do it with size proportional. So this is saying the size values, which are these last two, are proportions. Yep. Cool. All right. We don't need a stack layout. We don't need a label. What we need is we need a flex layout. A flex layout is going to bind to our property. What do we call it? Products. Let's just leave all that the same for the moment. It's item template. Okay, this is going to change. All of this item template is going to change. I didn't like that. Sorry about that. I always get interrupted when I'm streaming. Okay, cool. Item source products, data template. Okay. Where did our UI go? Let's restart this. Okay, while that's restarting, let's have a look at what we're going to have here. So we've got, oh, load template can't be null. Okay, that's why. I didn't provide a template. Cool. Okay, let's have a look at what we're going to have here. We're going to have like a grid, maybe a pancake view, maybe. We're going to have an element that sits up in the top right. We're going to have an image down the bottom right. We've got a little bit of text here. So just in terms of creating that cell, probably I might start off with a grid, I think, wrapped in a pancake view to give me my rounded corners. So let's try that first of all. So I'm gonna bring in pancake into our solution. Good old pancakes. Dragon, you're absolutely right.
Victory.
All good layouts start off with a grid. Exactly. In fact, I could have done that. I mean, it would have been faster laying this out if I actually did this whole thing with a grid first of all, to tell you the truth. And then I could adjust it accordingly. Okay, so let's do this. So in our data template, let's start off with a grid, because all good things start with a grid. Hey Naxalos, thanks for subscribing. Give me one moment. I'm just having a chat with some people. Sorry, people. At the same time I'm running this stream, I'm also selling a bike. But Naxalos, thanks so much for subscribing. Appreciate it. Let me add you to the honor roll here. Oops, not the VNC roll. Thanks from Poland. Fantastic. And my pleasure doing this. I enjoy doing this stuff. So thanks for tuning in. All right. All right. A little bit distracted here. Let's start simple. Let's just put a box view in here. And I'm just going to let's just put in some values here for the moment. And just so we can get it running. In fact, we should say a background color. We should be able to bind this right now. Binding to, what was it called? It was called Hero Color. Let's give that a spin up and see if it works. Waiting. What time is it in Poland? Where I am. All right, goodness. You beat my search. Where I am. Well, no sleep for the wicked, they say. All right, cool. Well, we've got our elements inside of here. So that's our hero colors. That's binding. That's cool. Let's say vertical options of actually, you know what I probably want to do? I'm just thinking to make this a box, to have this rounded corners, we probably want to wrap this in pancake. And we're probably going to want this to wrap around as well. Let me throw a pancake in. Everything should start with a grid and a pancake. Delicious pancakes, Travi. Sean Sparkman, everything's better with pancakes, especially mobile dev. Because pancakes... Let's try this. Pancakes give us corners. Okay. Corner radius of 10. Wow, that didn't work very well at all, did it? It's probably because we need a vertical height. Dragon, are you serious? Peanut butter, cinnamon sugar, and syrup. Is that a thing? That's a thing, right? Oh, okay. You know, it's funny because one of my twin boys really likes unusual flavors, and he has Vegemite and jam. Like, being Australian, we have Vegemite, and you know, he got me to make it for him and I was like, oh, that's disgusting. And then one day I tried it and it was actually really, really nice. A little bit of margin in here. Get them spaced out from each other. Let's try this. Let's try a height request here. We could turn this into a cooking show. Throw in some strawberry jam with the peanut butter. Works on sandwiches. Well, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Isn't that what they're called? Let's just try some different values in here. And okay, that's not what we're after. Let's get rid of these so that the grid takes up the whole space. There we go. That's more like it. Now we're not wrapping yet. Oh, that's because Dragon approves MJ freelancing. That's because the height request determines where it wraps. Interesting. Interesting. Make these a little bit wider. A bit higher. Ah, see, look, it started to wrap. Wrap. But also, I can't see the bottom of it because size proportional. All right. Well, let's deal with one chrome at a time, as they say. So, let's design this cell a little bit, and then once we have that, we can then think about this. So let me get myself a little bit more room here. So we have a box view with the hero color. Do I even need that? If I was to just put that in here, because Pancake View has a background color, right? Yeah, cool. So I don't even need to do that. But what I do need to do is in our design, we have this little box here. Let's put that box in and then this text in as a starting point. Oops. Okay, so let's put a box view in with a width of 30 and a height of 30, vertically at the top, horizontally at the end, and have it white. So that, if I'm not mistaken, we'll put it in the top right corner. Oops, if I shut the tag. Yep, in the top right corner. Let's change its opacity. 0.5. A pancake and a pancake. It sounds delicious. Let's give this a corner radius of... I'm not being very consistent with my corner radiuses here. 10 there. But we want corner radius at the top left of 0, top right of 0, bottom left of 10, 0. Hey, there we go. Make it a bit bigger. Bit more roundy. So let's make a corner radius of... What's the corner radius of these? We'll make I think it's the same corner radius, and I think it's just a little bit bigger. I changed the margin, not the corner radius, didn't I? Yep. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right, let's add a little bit of text in. And then we'll work on making this size a little bit better. So we need to have 2 bits of text here. Oh God, I hate doing this. Hang on. 2 bits. We need a plus up here. We need 2 bits of text. I need this to be top aligned. I can never do this easily. So if anyone's got any tips, let me know. But like if I was to come in here and I'll put a stack layout in here, I'll say its orientation is vertical. And I'll put a label in here where the text is equal to the name. Cool. And then let's give this a style as well. Let's give it the same style perhaps as fail. Whoa. No, there we are. Very good. So that's basically, it's kind of similar to what we're after. Nah, not really. We need a darker font. I wonder if we can do this with a bold font. Actually, I don't think that's going to make any difference in this situation because... Does that make a difference? No, not really. All right. I'll put that into a resource in a moment. So now what we need to do is we need to add in the dollar value, right? And this. Now, the problem is we want to top align it. How are we going to do that? We could do a grid. We probably don't need a grid. We just need a stack layout. Let's nest some stack layouts. Yeah, Dragon. Horizontal stack layouts. Whoop. That's what I was thinking. Let's have a look at what that quick tip was. Good old Zamgirl. What do you got, Zamgirl? What do you got for me? Oops, hang on. She's adding some spans in here. I think the problem is that it's still not going to align correctly. Bindable. Is there anything special going on here? 2 spans. Nothing special going on in there. So Zangirl does do great posts. Naxalos, yeah. Let's just see if we can get the layout working kind of how we want it, first of all. So this is horizontal. Oops. So a label in, text equal to $. I can see that we may end up with maybe a control similar to what Zamgirl's done. Text equals binding to price. Okay, so that gives us $12. Let's just code some values in here for the moment. So you think spans will work? All right, let's try it. So let's remember how we do spans. Something, something label. Label dot formatted text. Help me out here. Something like that. I'm running out of space here. Where can we set the vertical options? Vertical text alignment. Just start. Oops, that's gonna. Come on, more room. Binding to price. Let's get rid of those bad boys. Okay. Let's try this. It's just, if I was to say font size is 10 for this, I would say font size is 20 for this. Okay, so that kind of, let me make this a bit bigger so you guys can see it. Let's start this at 20 and 40. All right. So that's given us two different sizes and only use one label, which is good. Text decorations, no. Where can I specify this? Have you got an example? MJ freelancing? Nothing's going to go in there. Nothing's going to go in there. You did mention you're a back-end developer. That's true. Well, listen, let's do this. I don't think this is gonna work. Let's try this. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try the way I know that should work, and then we can base it on that. So we'll say text is $. Binding to price. And then we'll say vertical options start. Scene Sparksman, I think you're probably better off with just 2 labels and setting padding for the stack layout to 0. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking as well. So vertical options of start as well. Font size, we'll make this 20 and 40 and we'll reduce it later on. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. So we'll set our spacing of this equal to 0, perhaps. Yep. Yeah, my problem is, like, let's have a look at this. Let's say if I got my background color here, and I'm just gonna put this as light yellow, so we can see the bounds of this, right? So there you can, well, if I made this bigger, you can see the bounds of that label, and that's, I suspect, because of the font, right? And if I put a background color on this, then that's the bounds of that. Span, well, I mean, there's a line height here as well, but I think that's a spacing between the lines. So if I said like line spacing 0, I don't think it would change anything. Yeah, it's not going to change anything. Vertical text alignment. No, didn't seem to change anything either. Yeah. Naxala says, and I agree. I think it depends on the font. So do I. I think the fact is that this font has a lot of spacing above its numbers. The way I would normally do it is be like this. Like, I'd get my font sizes right. So maybe this, let's have a look. $14 and $20 maybe. No, that's not going to be right. Let's have a look at our design here. So it's quite big. Let's make that 30. Don't tempt me, MJ freelancing. I will create a font for every an image for every single price. Yeah, I think we can do something better than a margin. I reckon an image for every dollar value. Let's do this. I feel this wants to be a little bit bigger. Yeah, so that's kind of about right. I'd be tempted to do this. Do a translation. So if we wanted to move that down, it just feels so dirty. So dirty. make this white. Yeah, there's too much spacing above it. I bet you this has a whole bunch of like padding built into it because it's super annoying. Padding of 0, spacing of 0. I bet you this stack layout has padding built into it. So that's 10 from the left. Gonna come up a little bit, or is it right? Does want to come up a little bit. You know what? Padding is not the property I wanted there, by the way. The property I wanted was spacing. Spacing is the spacing between the elements. Oops, did I break something? And this one, no, I don't want that. I want a margin of 10 to the left, 0 to the top and bottom. Ooh, maybe not. 10, 0, 0. There we go. Sure, let's go with that. We need to put a label in here, or a button in here to have our plus sign. Options, horizontal options at the end. Actually, this probably wants to be a button, doesn't it? God, this isn't going to go well, is it? No, it's not going to go well. Maybe an image button. Actually, let's just put it with a label for the moment. Yeah. Let's make this 40 by 40. What is that? Yeah, absolutely. That's true. In our case, yeah, our gesture is going to be just in this top corner. So 40 by 40. How big is our width request and height request? Is 40. Uh-oh. Nah, we're good. We're good. We're good. We can always do it this way. Oh, that looks lame. Why does that look so lame? Maybe we just need a better font size. Well, let's try that. Let's try a vertical text alignment of center. Horizontal text alignment to center. Is it going to change anything? Oops. That's not bad. And then if we get rid of that margin. Wait on. What a disaster. There we go.
Excellent.
All right. Because fonts, exactly. Anyway, I think that kind of worked. Beautiful. Where to now, people? Where to now? Should we make this a staggered grid layout? Am I out? Yeah, so what I have is I've got this little extension called XAML Styler installed. XAML Styler, which is really awesome because it reorders your attributes for you if you want it to. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff down in XAML Styler, and you can say, hey, how much should you, what's your indentation style for your attributes? How many attributes should be on a line before it wraps down to the next line? Which is pretty cool when you can say, hey, is there anything that you want to be ordered first? Like names first? Makes sense. You can say, hey, I want to reorder them. Must be a heck on your commits. Well, as long as everyone in the team's using it, it's fine. But yeah, it's a good point. You know, I just use it because I'm always doing this, you know, where I've got like random indents going on here like that. And when I save it, it just brings them all back together. But yeah, that's a cool tool. And it also has a, you know, like an editor config type of file. So you can actually have settings that are used for a particular project, which is really cool. Okay, so what we kind of want now, right, is we want to have different things taking up different heights, right? So some of them are going to be just small, and others are going to be big. I'm going to use a converter for this because I know it'll work. Well, I suspect it'll work, I should say. All right, so let's get this out of the way. All right. So I'm gonna. So okay, just to be clear on what I'm trying to do here, right? So we've got different products in our collection here. Some of them are big and some of them are small. Now, what I think, if I go back and have a look at how Lachlan implemented this here, I'm pretty sure in the model, for an artwork, yeah, it had a height, right? And that was how high a particular one is, which works fine, right? You can say, hey, this one's that height, this one's that height, but that's a very view specific thing to put in your model, probably. What I did is I added, like, is it featured? And so featured ones will be big, non-featured ones will be small. So all we can do is we can just get a converter which takes the Boolean and just returns a value back out of it. And I think that's a little bit neater. So I'm going to throw in converters, right? And all we want to do is we want to take a Boolean and convert it bool to, in fact, I used one last time, a bool to object converter, which would do the job for us. Let me come back here for a second. What was it called? Furniture store. I'm just going to steal it from here, I think. Let's see if this works. Converter, bool to string. Yeah, that'll do. And then once we have this, we can weigh up the pros and cons of it. All right, so the idea here is we're going to have a converter, which is going to take in a value. And let me just resolve some usings here first of all. God, these spaces, are you kidding me? Okay, it's a one way. But what we're going to do is we're going to say bool to string converter. We're going to have, if it's true, it's going to return 1. MJ Freelancing says, if you wanted to control the height based on a style as well as featured, would a behavior be better? Or would you still do it with a converter? I don't know how I do it with the behavior. I'm sure we can do it with this. Let's... Yeah, maybe a data trigger. The one that makes kind of more sense is a data template selector. But the problem is I don't want to, I'm only changing one property. I'm just converting a Boolean into a number, or a string in this case. Doesn't matter. Could be a number as well. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, Sean. It's a little bit too much just for a single property. Thanks. All right. So let's try this, right? So I'm going to put a converter in here. Converter equals converters. And into my resource dictionary, I'm going to chuck a converter in there. So we'll say converters, bool to string converter. We need to give it a key. So this is our featured height converter. Now it's got two properties in it, right? It's got a true and a false. So we can say if it's true, let's return, I don't know, 240. If it's false, let's return 170, right? Whatever, different values. And now I should be able to come in here and say in my height, let's do a binding to this featured converter equals static Resource. Oh no, I know. Static resource. It should height converter, maybe. That feels a little bit optimistic. What's it complaining about here? Oh, we don't need that. Converter equals. Move this out of the way for a second. And then that is finished there. It's hard for me to tell. Wait on. Because my scroll view here needs to be a little bit smaller. So let's make this 300 high for the moment. Set up, Chris man. Oh, didn't work very well. Wow. What happened there? Oh, hang on. I've got this size proportional still. There we are. That's why. All right. Not what I was after. Let's, again, don't worry about these hard-coded values. We'll take care of those a little later on. Hey, you see there? Hi, Chris man. Welcome. So that's that one there. If we have a look at our view model, sky blue, that's true, true, false. So the only one that is not featured is this one here, and that has a small tile. So let's just change yellow sun to be not featured, and then we should have two small ones. So Chris man, what were you hoping to find out about my setup? All right, cool. So we've got a large one. We got a small one. Okay, so it's using the converter. And then we get another small one, and then we have a large one. Beautiful. Okay, now the next question comes for wrapping. Oh, here, let me show you what I use. And you're gonna have to excuse me. There's a bit of mess on my desk, right? But I've actually got a setup that I kind of like at the moment. Let me find you a scene. There we are. Here's my setup. This is a little camera I've got at the back here. Okay, so what I have is I've got a MacBook Pro here. So I pretty much just use that as my build machine. I've got a desktop, which has these 3 screens connected to it. And then I've got a camera here, which is the one that I normally use, and some lights and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, that's kind of my setup that I use. But yeah, I've got a Mac as my build host, but I'm actually developing on Windows. But yeah, that's my setup. Yeah, no problems. I prefer, like, I don't know, I prefer a desktop to develop on, and Windows. But that's just because I'm a grumpy old man, basically. Okay, here's the next challenge that we have here. Check this out. So the flex layout, right, is direction is column, so it's going down the columns. But the height specifies when it wraps. Like if I do that, oh, that's fine. All right. So that's kind of what we're after. But it's gonna depend on how many objects that we have inside of here. I don't know if Lachlan's still on. This is Lachlan's code. It's Lachlan's fault. No, not really. So one way we could do this is we can calculate how big the flex layout needs to be based on the number of objects, unless anyone else knows about the flex layout and some elements that I don't know. Because if I was to go row here, it'd kind of look okay, right? It'd go across the rows, so it'd be like, you know, element yeah, it's driven by the height because the items are added top to bottom, left to right. Exactly. Yeah. So when I say row, right, it says go across the row. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Sean. So what we're saying, I want to thank you for the follow. Buckwheat, 1891. Cool name. Don't know what it means, but it's cool. Buckwheat 1891 and Sean as well. I'm assuming it's Sean, right? Yeah, it's Sean, right? Cool. Okay, so MJ Freelancing says, would it be better left to right than top to bottom? Well, here's the problem, right? So I just changed it to be a direction of row, right? Which means it's going to go, now it's going left to right, then top to bottom, right? So it's going left, right, and then it gets to the end, so it goes down a row. But the problem with that is that you can't, it then takes the height of this row from here. And this one here won't go up to there. Whereas if you go column, it goes down the column, hits the bottom, comes back up, and then starts putting them down. And that's how you can get a staggered layout. Let's get rid of that background, by the way. Time for a feature request. Yeah, I think you're right. I did see something on that actually. So this is what I want to try and do. If I say GitHub collection view Xamarin.Forms staggered layout. there is a request in here for a staggered layout, which is exactly what I'm trying to do, right? Yaso5, thank you for the follow.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
So here it is for Android. Yeah, so it's not going to work for iOS, unfortunately. So what did we learn here? Maybe see if we can use that and include an iOS version. We could try that. Okay. But look, that kind of achieves what we're after. Oh, sorry, I'm behind me again. That kind of achieves what we're after there. All right, what's the time? All right, I may have to sign off shortly. I've got to go and do some work. I'm just wondering, is there something anyone wants? Is there anything we should do right now before we park this? Why don't we get an image and put an image in here just to see whether it works? And this is going to be hard because we're going to need images of Icelandic moss, as you do. Icelandic moss. Yeah. All right. Right, I may have to go and find some photos of this. It might be something I'll do off stream because it's a little bit boring. Yeah. I knew that Norwegian moss was a thing. Oh, there we go. Wow. That's what we're after. Norwegian reindeer moss. So in the chat window, put 1 if you just learned about this. 2, if you have a collection of Norwegian reindeer moss. So yeah, this is about perfect for what we're after. Wow. You know, I've always had this theory that anything you've thought of, it exists somewhere on the internet. So there you go. All right, we'll use some images like that. Okay. Well, just so Capital Twitch has said, before you go, can we do a quick wrap up? I'm just going to do one thing first of all, right? Just because we've kind of got our UI. It's pretty much laid out how we want, right? I just want to test if getting an image, it's going to be able to be put in here and cropped, because otherwise we're going to end up with some problems. So I just want to do that proof of concept. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this terrifying page about Norwegian moss. I wonder if I think it's one of the rules of the internet. I think it is. I wonder if I'm going to be picked up on some kind of weird FBI radar because I searched for Norwegian reindeer moss. Now, I'm just trying to find a picture because what I need to do, I want this picture here. It won't give it to me. I want, oh, that's what I want. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go copy that. Cool. Now, you know, one of the, probably the biggest problem with Adobe XD is you can't do image editing. You can in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do, what we kind of want to do here, we actually kind of want to make our image the same size as what it's going to be here, and then just crop down to the corner. So I'm going to create myself a rectangle about yay big. So we'll make it 250 by, or 250 by 250. And that will be the size of our moss images. Okay. So, oops, I'm going to create a new image in Photoshop. I'm going to paste that in here. I'm going to get rid of the background. Background eraser tool. Does that work? Is that a thing? No, that's not a thing. All right. Delete my background. And there we have some, no worry, Bill. Take care. I'm only got a little bit longer left. I just want to prove that I can get these images in okay. Okay, so there's our moss. So hopefully if I go and copy this, I can paste it into here. Booyah. And now we have some moss. As you do. I just want to resize that. All right, there's that moss. Oh, wait on. That has a background color. Wait on. What has the background color here? No. Okay, wait on. I'm going to save this as a PNG without a background. All right. And then I'm going to import that. Ah, cool. I get a large bunch of moss. Thank you, Crazy Karthik, for the follow. Appreciate it. I'm probably wondering what I'm doing. Like, what are you doing? You're playing with moss. What we're doing is just trying to get some images for this UI design. All right, cool. Almost there. Almost there. All right, cool. All right, cool. Let's call this. Let's just call this moss. We'll just use the same moss for each of them, just to see whether we can get it in, and then we can call it quits for the stream. So let's put moss in. Let's export it for Android as well. Beautiful. Okay. Let's come back to our project here. So we'll stop this. We'll include the resource and we'll see if it can be positioned nicely. So let's turn that on. My constant battle with this button. What I'm trying to do is I'm battling Visual Studio here in order to get it to show me that resource that it just exported. I'm pretty sure I put in the right directory. Yep. There's our moss right there. Come on, Visual Studio. There. Oh, and just while that's importing, crazy carpet. Beautiful, thank you. All right, so we've got moss. So what I'm going to do is in just my view model, I'm literally just going to put in moss in each of them. And then later on, we'll find different images for different types of moss. I think that should be enough for us. Whew. And it's just about lunchtime here. Wait for that to spin up. So here we've got our grid. Stack layout, which is being used for our labels. So I reckon if we go and stick an image in here, hey, we got moss. We got moss. Okay, so we want to make this down the bottom right hand corner. So we'll say vertically, let's put it at the end of the cell. Which is pretty much where it was. Horizontally, let's make it at the end. And then if we do a translate, of say 100. Wow. Relation x of 100. Okay. A little bit of moss peeking out from the bottom. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Maybe we'll make these centered. Maybe we'll do this. Send horizontally centered. Okay. So that's interesting. If I do this vertically centered, horizontally centered, bit of a translation. I'd expect that to appear right smack bang in the middle. Oh, hang on. It's in the stack layout. That's why. That's better. Okay, so we'll put horizontally end, vertically end. Right, so now we should be consistent. We should be able to say translate X by 70, translation Y by 70. Nah, too much. All right. we got some moss. It's all the same kind of moss at the moment, but what it did prove is it proved that, like on these ones here, we can have a full image that's just got the cropped corner there. Beautiful. So that's a good thing. All right. And we got most of the other elements done in this screen. So let's wrap this up. Somebody asked for a wrap up earlier on, Capital Twitch. Let's have a bit of an overview of the UI so far. So this here is the UI that we're reproducing. So what we have is because what we're going to have to do with this is we're going to have to do lots of animations, right? So as you can see, this is the source design. Things are going to be animating around the place, and that's why we just didn't use a grid, right? And so what we did instead was we use an absolute layout. Okay, an absolute layout basically allows us to position things exactly where we want them to be. The problem with that is you're also responsible for positioning things, which means here we've kind of explicitly set where things are going to be. And what that means in effect is when this rotates, or if I used a different size device, it's not going to be quite right. So we're going to write some code to dynamically size things. So that'll be our challenge for next time. Dynamically size things, make things animate into their positions, because when we start scrolling this, we want to collapse this top section. So next stream, we'll do lots and lots of animation. So Capital Dev, hopefully that kind of explained things. For the moment, I'm just going to check this in. And I'll go ahead and I'll save this as well. Before the next stream, I'll make where am I? Yeah, I do these each Friday. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me just bear with me for a second. MJ freelancing. I'm just going to put a design folder here. I'm going to check this into here. Let's just call it Iceland moss. I've been to Iceland. I've never seen this moss. I just want you to know that. All right. And so now I can come to GitHub. Let's check all this in. End of stream 1. Hit all that stuff up. Yeah, okay. So what I was just going to say, MJ freelancing, is yes, I do these every Friday. In this case, it was something that somebody suggested. somebody sent me that design and said, hey, go and see if you can implement this. But if you have a look on my blog, I'm not sure if I got them on my blog, to tell you the truth. I go through, I do these every Friday at this time. You can only source Icelandic moss from China. Yeah, I think you're right. I do these challenges and then I write them up sometimes. So I've got different ones here. Also, if you go and have a look at my GitHub, not just the GitHub, my GitHub. I basically have a bunch of repositories in here with different ones. So, and I'll in each of these, post the link to my GitHub. In each of these, I kind of say where the original design comes from, and then I go and implement it. And I've got all of the sessions in here as well of actually doing it. Or the other thing you can have a look at as well is you can have a look at youtube.com/users kphilpotts maybe. And this is where I archive them too. But, you know, it's more fun to rock up on a Friday. And so this is sort of where I archive them too. Yeah, no problems. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Let me just see if there's anyone that we can raid, because it's good manners to raid, I hear. So Ninja Bunny, is anyone familiar with Ninja Bunny? Ninja Bunny's a lot of fun. So let's see if I can do a raid, because I'm terrible at doing raids. So I'll just put it on the ending screen here as we do it. So Bunny 9000. So go and say hi to Ninja Bunny 9000. When you drop in there, just say hi, and join us next week, and we'll start finishing it off. So take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye for now.